This is June 2013's paper for Unit 2. Normal rules apply. It's 1 hour 15 minutes. You spend 30 minutes on the first section and for the other 45 on the second section. And there's only 6 multiple choice questions here, as usual, for Unit 2, which means you can get through them much easier within the 30 minutes. So save yourself some time for Section B by getting the first section done as quickly as possible. So go straight into these 6 questions, starting with this one. In 2011, the combined market share of Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's and Morrison was 75%. This is best described as... Okay, so if you have a market where the top 4 companies all have a combined market share of 75%. It doesn't have to be top 4, it can be top 3, top 2, top 5, even top 6. But if you've got a market where you've got a few companies that have a combined market share of at least 60%, which is what we've got here, that is classified as an oligopoly. So start with definition. Oligopoly is a market in which there are a few businesses that have a market share that adds up to 60%. In this case, you have 4 companies that have a market share of 75%, making it an oligopoly. The answer would not be a monopoly, because within a monopoly there is one dominant business that has at least 25% market share. It is not D, perfectly competitive, because that is a market where there is no dominant business at all, unlike in this case where there are 4 dominant businesses. Question 2. Lloyds TSB Bank advises its business customers to prepare a contingency plan. Which one of the following is most likely to reduce uncertainty? The answer is A. So we'd start with a definition of either. Here you could define contingency plan or uncertainty. Defined contingency plan is something a business has to prepare itself in case of something that happens in the future that would be bad for the business. So it's a plan you have in place that prepares you for what to do if there's something bad that happens in the future. For example, contingency plan for the school. What do we do if it snows a lot and all public transport doesn't work? There's like 3 inches of snow everywhere. There's people being told to stay inside. Obviously, the contingency plan for Blackheath is that you still come in anyway, but for other schools, generally you stay at home. So in this case, what reduces uncertainty for a business? Market research. Why? Because if you do market research, then you can understand the feelings, the thoughts, the likes and the dislikes of your customers. If the business has more of an idea about what its customers like and don't like, then they can sell products that they think their customers will like and not do things that their customers won't like. So if they think they know what their customers like, that reduces their uncertainty, because they have more of an idea about what their customers like, which means they've got more of an idea about what their customers will do or the way that they will react when they release a new product or if they change their existing product. So it's about giving your business more information about what might happen. Of course, just because you do market research, it doesn't mean 100% you will always know how your customers will react, but it at least maybe reduces that uncertainty a little bit. Question 3. Amazon, iTunes and Argos all are online retailers. An increase in online retailing has led to a decrease in C, price of products. As businesses operate online, it helps to reduce their fixed costs. What type of fixed costs does going online help a business to reduce? Well, for example, they will have to pay less rent, as they may not need to have shops in order to sell their products. So they're saving on rent costs, rent of having a shop space. They don't need to have shops on the high street because they sell everything online. So that reduces their costs, and if a business's costs go down, they can supply more at a higher price. At a lower price, which means it leads to a reduction in the price of products. So the answer for 3 is C. Nothing really specifically to define there. I think if you said that, that would get you the marks for your knowledge. A knockout answer, B. Online sales or online retailers actually increase the amount of choice that consumers have, because there will be more companies selling online, so you have more choice that way. But also, businesses that sell online usually will sell a wider variety of products compared to people that only sell products in shops. And what's that called? When a business sells more products, if it's online, that is called the long tail. So remember that if you didn't know it, that is called the long tail. So you sell more products, different types of products, because of the long tail. Question 4. BA advertise using media such as TV and national newspapers. This policy helps to spread some of their fixed costs. This is best described as... Okay, so it's about economies of scale. What are economies of scale? They are... Economies of scale illustrates how the cost of making one unit goes down for a business as it increases in size. So as a business grows in size, the average cost of making one unit goes down. That is called its economy of scale. So if you say a business is benefiting from economies of scale, it means it's benefiting from growing larger. Its average cost of making each unit is going down. But there's more than one economy of scale. What they've got here is they've got a few different ones, and they've even thrown in a diseconomy of scale, and you've got to pick out which is the one that relates to this. Well, anything to do with marketing is marketing economies of scale. Why does a business benefit from marketing economies of scale? As a business gets larger, it can use different types of marketing that it couldn't use before. So a large company like BA can use TV adverts, newspapers, billboards, for example, whereas a small company would not be able to afford to use those types of marketing. They'd have to stick to things like leaflets or people in the street, or word of mouth, that type of thing. So marketing economies of scale means that a business benefits from being able to use different types of marketing that it would not be able to use if it was smaller. So as it gets bigger, it can use bigger and more effective forms of marketing. Therefore, it's D, marketing economies of scale. The answer would not be B, diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies of scale refers to how a business's costs, average cost per unit, goes up if it gets too big. So the graph for economies of scale looks like a U shape. The U shape because as you get bigger, your costs go down until they reach a sort of bottom point. It can't get any lower than that. They then, after a while, if you keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, they start to go back up again. So if you get too big, your costs, your average cost of producing one unit actually starts to go back up again. So that's diseconomies of scale. Or you could say it wouldn't be C, managerial economy of scale, but that refers to how a larger business is able to afford more managers than a smaller business, and a business with more managers means that hopefully their staff will be more supervised, more controlled, more motivated, so that helps to reduce their costs in terms of less people breaking things, less people being unmotivated. So managerial economies of scale refers to having more managers as you grow in size, which means you can monitor and motivate your staff better, and the business will run more efficiently in general. Question 5. You'll notice with Unit 2 there is definitely not as much calculation-based questioning. So this is about as close as it gets, and even this one for this paper isn't actually a full calculation. So the retailer Poundland reported a record annual turnover of 642 million at a time when consumers' real income was falling. So it's saying sales are going up, demand for their product is going up as income goes down. So this is to do with elasticity, income elasticity, saying what do we call it if a business has products that go up in demand as people's income goes down. Remember, normally as your income goes up, you demand more. But some products, as your income goes down, you will buy more of them. Those are called inferior goods. So definition, inferior goods are goods which see an increase in demand as consumers' income goes down. This is what Poundland is selling because they sell inferior products. They sell cheap items, and we've seen there that their turnover's gone up as income goes down, so those are inferior goods. The answer would not be B, normal goods. Normal goods are goods which consumers buy more of as their income goes up, and they would buy less of as their income goes down. This is not the case here. Now, they've got luxury goods and normal goods as two different options, and they are actually slightly two different things. Normal goods are goods you buy more of as your income goes up, and luxury goods are also things you buy more of as your income goes up. But the difference is that luxury goods are kind of one step above normal goods. So you can have normal goods that are not luxury in that they're goods that you buy more of as you get richer, but that you wouldn't classify them as luxury goods because they're not quite in that top band in terms of how much they cost and what they are, kind of thing. So a normal Ford car is a normal good, but it's not a luxury good, because a luxury car would be something like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or whatever. So that's kind of the difference between the two. Final one. Here we're talking about turnover. Now it's interesting. They kind of always give you a little bit of blurb at the top. It doesn't really kind of always link in necessarily to the case study. Often it's just a case of just picking out the key words. Here we're talking about empowerment. So greater empowerment is most likely to result in answer increases in productivity. Definition: empowerment is the process of businesses giving workers lower down the hierarchy more responsibility and more power. So empowerment, you give your low-level workers more responsibility, more power. That helps to motivate them to work harder because they feel valued, which in turn increases their productivity. Maybe that's why this company makes so much money every year, because they empower their workers and they are very motivated. Knockout answer: it would not be D. There would not be less delegation of tasks, because during empowerment there is more delegation of tasks. Delegating means that you allow your workers to make more decisions themselves. So that's part of empowerment. You delegate, you allow them to do more decision making. It would not be A. During empowerment, not only do you delegate, but you allow workers to get on with whatever it is they're doing. You don't supervise them closer. You would have less supervision because you are trusting them and allowing them to get on with whatever it is they're doing. So that links us to the end of section A. So in the next video, we'll be looking at the essay-based section of this exam, section B.